The ceramic section at IAST was another major area of focus. As I alluded to earlier, this started in the University of Guyana, where we had a final year course in mineral sciences, with a view basically of getting people trained in utilization of some of our mineral deposits. This is apart from the bauxite industry. And we felt, as a result of our early work, that we had locally all of the raw material to construct or to establish a ceramics industry. So this was going to be the direction of our work in the pilot plant. Would take developing a body, clay body, that we could fire and produce tableware, sanitary ware. And we started all of the material. We had the clays, we had kaolin, of course, tremendous deposits in the linen area, and the flux, which basically you mix into the body to allow it to be fired at a particular temperature. Feldspar, we actually got the feldspar at a quarry near to Bartica. So, as I said, all of the material was local. And we developed a clay body, and through our contact, again with Leeds, we had through what is known as the Commonwealth Fund for Technical Cooperation, ceramics consultant coming in from England to work with in those days the WRSM, the Women's Revolutionary Socialist Movement, which was headed by the wife of the late president. And the whole idea, they had become very interested in the work we are doing, and the whole idea was empowering women, and they wanted to see how they could establish an industry that would be providing jobs for women, etc. And we worked with them, and we did a feasibility study for the establishment of a tableware factory, because by that time we had done a lot of production in our pilot plant. We had a pilot kiln as part of our equipment, so we were able to move from raw material to finished product. And we decided to go ahead, and this sort of interface led to an agreement to establish the Vanceram factory at Covidem. The factory was established. We trained all of the women, the different technical persons in it. One of the leading women was, again, the late Leela Locke, who was attached to the ceramic section at the center, and who, apart from some of the technical aspects of it, was also responsible for the design of our tableware. And they had some beautiful designs, you know, they had the hibiscus line, using local flowers. It was quite a tremendous effort. Here again, we had a successful launch, but Vanceram struggled after a while. And on reflection, I think we were a bit overambitious in those days, and we weren't modest enough to admit that the clays that we had in Guyana on their own they were necessary, but not a sufficient condition for the type of clay body that would have what we call a reasonable degree of tolerance, so that if under manufacturing conditions these weren't ideal, then you wouldn't have loss and breakage. Under the strict laboratory conditions in the pilot plant that we operated, that was not a problem. But we soon realized after the factory started to operate that breakage was quite high. And the reason eventually that we attributed that to was the fact that the clay body was not plastic enough. And really what we should have done was to at least import some ball clay from the UK or wherever they had the ball clay, and mix it with our body. That would have given it the type of degree of tolerance that would have prevented the the level of breakage that we saw in the factory. But I said in those days, the mantra was local self-sufficiency, import substitution, and we were all caught up in that. But Vanceram was a wonderful experience for us. We owe a lot to the Sri Lankans who were contracted. They had, as you know, Sri Lanka has a tremendous ceramics industry. We had, I think it was Dr. Bhattacharya, Bandhu, well, I remember him as Bandhu. He was an outstanding ceramicist who was attached to the Geology and Mines department, but then we took him over to basically help us with our work. Dr. Bob Lee, who would start with us at the University of Guyana. And Angad, of course, our local person who was trained at UG and at Leeds. And they were basically the leaders. We had Alam, who was also from Sri Lanka, looking at a different aspect of our ceramics work. And he was, I think Alam was our mold maker, or we may have brought in another Sri Lankan to be resident at the center to help us to develop the capacity to make our molds. And we after a while, we were able to supply all of the people in Georgetown who were doing more or less ceramics for decoration. We were able to provide them, they come to us with a design and we will provide them with the molds for them to manufacture. We also used to supply them with clear bodies for their use. All these were pockets of revenue for the Institute. Yeah, for the Institute. The other thing about, we actually were tasked with developing sanitary ware for Guyana. And we fired, well, let me tell you an interesting story about that. They had one of these big local industrial exhibitions coming up, and the president became, I guess through the Vanceram experience, became very interested in the work we were doing, and he was excited about the idea of a sanitary ware factory in Guyana. We gave an undertaking that we'll have a few of our pieces fired and on display at the exhibition. But then we started to run into all sorts of problems. And a few days before the exhibition came on, he got a call from the president's office and said, "Oh my, what's this now?" And it was President Burnham himself on the line. And he said, he wanted to find out how the sanitary ware work was coming on. So I apologized and said, we ran into some difficulties and I don't think we might be able to meet the deadline. And there was a deafening silence at the other end of the line. And then I heard him say, "Do you want me to go to my constituency and tell them that our top scientists in the land cannot give us some sit-upons?" and then he put the phone down. So I went back into the lab and tell the fellas, "Look, we have to work day and night to make sure we get the pieces that we could put in an exhibit." And we did it, you know, just with that little intervention. That was the sort of relationship we had with him. It was strictly science and success, and he was one of our biggest promoters.